we just say there's four things. You're AI first, you're human in a loop, you're going to test and iterate, and then you're going to compare your results against your key performance indicators. And if you can follow that simple four-step process, you're going to be miles ahead of the marketplace and the other people that are not using the tools, and you're going to save yourself a lot of time and probably have better output than you would without it.
Oh, yeah. Like the stuff that it comes up with is really engaging and exciting and fun, and it's well written. So much better than when I write. Welcome to Playing with Perspective, the suspended animation podcast, where we hear real stories from real people and we tackle all sorts of fun topics in the areas of business, marketing, entrepreneurship, mindset, the arts, and, well, life itself. It's amazing what you will pick up. Thanks for joining us. Welcome, everyone. Darren Saul here. Another fantastic episode of Playing with Perspective, the suspended animation podcast. I've got Emanuel Rose all the way here from the US joining me for episode 245. How you
awesome.
doing?
I'm doing great, man. Congratulations on episode 245.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We're climbing.
That's good.
When I get to 300, I'll be very happy.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, that's a milestone for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But thanks for coming on the show. Going to talk about all sorts of great stuff, particular the authentic marketing in the age of AI. And AI has just taken the world by storm in the last year or so. It's just escalated incredibly fast. And who knows what we're going to see next year or the year after. So going to be crazy stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's changing really on a daily basis. So it's hard to even picture what's going to be going on. But so far, it's been a good run. I'm very excited about all the tools and how various tools are integrating and making things easier for us.
Absolutely. I've been embracing them with open arms. I love them. They're making my life very, very easy. Much better than doing all this manual stuff before.
It's true. Yeah. I think it's, when you actually get the tool figured out, whatever it is, you can save probably 60-70% of the time having the machine do the work.
Absolutely. Now, guys, before we jump in, I thought I'd just let everybody know if anybody's a budding podcaster out there, and actually whether you're a guest as well, I've got a fantastic 7-day free podcast launch challenge. So I'll put the link in the show notes. If anybody's interested in learning how to launch a podcast or just learning all about podcasting, you'll get all sorts of great info for free for 7 days. So check that out. But I'm going to give a little bit of a bio and a bit of an intro so people know a little bit more about Emanuel. So Emanuel was born and raised on the west coast of the United States. He has spent over 3 decades earning a reputation in cutting-edge marketing. As an author and expert, Emanuel specializes in direct response advertising and content marketing via his digital agency, Strategic eMarketing. His passion lies in helping companies achieve business success with authentic storytelling. A visionary in the confluence of marketing and AI, Emanuel's unique approach to marketing strategies has resulted in countless clients reaching their goals. Emanuel has distinguished himself from his peers through his end result thinking, ability to anticipate trends, and concise communication skills. With his strategic thinking and ability to leverage simple tactics to achieve extraordinary gains, Emanuel is poised to continue impacting the digital marketing industry. So welcome again, mate. Really appreciate you having on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Darren. I'm really looking forward to another conversation with you.
Excellent. And obviously, I was on your podcast a little while back, so we had a great chat. So really appreciate you reciprocating. But you've been in marketing for like 30 years and now continuing down the marketing path with the generation of the new technologies. What do you still love about it? What keeps you stuck in the marketing world for so long?
I just love connecting people with the things they need. And, it's so gratifying to have somebody with a good product or service, and they're good at what they do, but they don't know exactly how to get the customers or get people to know about it. And then, my team and myself, we get these good stories. We figure out how to approach the target markets and then get everybody connected. So it's that's the gratifying part, really.
Love it. And you've run your own agency for that time, or?
Yeah, for about 15 years, I've had strategic eMarketing. And before that, I worked at various companies as either product manager or somewhere in the sales and marketing departments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. And obviously, I speak to a lot of people about this, and the tech has changed, but the fundamentals of marketing haven't changed, have they?
Yeah, I think that's always the challenge, is to not get distracted by the shiny thing, right? And remember that we're dealing with humans, and that as humans we have certain needs, and we have these needs at different times in our lives, and that we have to make the story about the person who's buying the product, not about how great we are as the producer of the product. And if we can keep that in mind, then no matter what the shiny thing is, it's going to be successful.
Yeah, 100%. It's so important to be so aware of being customer centric. It's not about I, we, our, my. It's about what can I do for you? What is going to
Yeah.
make a difference to your life? Yeah.
And that's the hard part, even for me, when I'm telling my own story. It's hard
Yeah.
for me to get into that perspective, because I want to tell how great I am and how much I know and blah, 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 all this great stuff about me. But nobody cares about that. It's the old joke about, the radio station, what's in it for me is the attention. And really being a service to another person is what makes the transaction valuable.
Yeah, I love that as well. I think, doing a good service for other people and even just getting that great feedback is already reward enough. Of course, we want monetary reward. We're running a business,
Yeah.
but it's amazing just when someone says, "Thank you so much. You've really made a difference to my work or my life." It's very powerful.
It is. And, some of the clients I've had the entire 15 years of the agency life. So I truly think of them as part of my family. And that's the distinction between customer and client.
Yep.
Client means it's somebody who you care about the outcomes for, versus customer is somebody who just does a transaction.
Yep.
And so I think it's a concept worth emulating, treating everybody like clients.
Love it. And I'd love to get a bit more context on how you work and what your particular methodology is, because I mentioned in your bio you do a lot of email marketing as well as some other digital stuff. Have you got any particular facets that you really go all in on, or you do a bit of everything?
It depends on what the client's doing, right? And who their ideal clients are. So what the foundation of marketing in 2024 and what be relevant next year in 25 will continue to be content marketing. And like we're doing here, having a conversation, taking a position on something that's happening, that's a trend, helping people understand how to take best advantage of that trend, and then building some type of a personal brand in addition to the business brand. And so that's what I love about what you're doing with that podcast challenge. Is I'm calling 2025 the year of the podcast. My goal is to get all my clients at least guesting, and half of them hosting podcasts, because this avalanche of content that we're getting from AI makes it so that we have to find another way to personalize and tell the market who we are as people and what we believe in and why they should be working with us rather than the 50 other people down the street.
Yeah, and you've made a really good point. Something that I've been saying lately is that the podcast is like the new website. It's almost like at one point, everybody needed to have a website. Everybody needed to know how to show up and tell their clients what they did. Now, website is obsolete. It's just a static page that might substantiate all the other things you do. But a podcast is so much more powerful to give people an insight into who you are, how you think, what your philosophy is, so they can really identify with you and build that personal brand, as you mentioned. So I really think it's important for people to start thinking about, if not at least podcasting as a host, but podcasting as a guest for sure.
Yeah. And I think it's a natural kind of invitation into being the guest or the host rather, is to get familiar with it. And, I was probably a guest on 150 podcasts before I finally was like, all right, I know I have to do this too. And now I love it because I get to learn about stuff that I want to know about.
Absolutely.
And so it's the greatest conversation. Plus, it's creating so much content. My content team came to me and said, "We have your LinkedIn post scheduled all the way through July." And I'm like, "Whoa, time out, time out." By the time that stuff posts, it will be obsolete.
Yeah, so true, so true. And that's what I love about podcasting, is that it gives you an endless supply of content, and it's good content. It's not salesy content.
Yeah, exactly. It's the most authentic content because it's you and I having a conversation, telling our real stories, and we're not trying to hustle or impress anybody. We're just telling stories.
Love it. Yep, so true.
Yep.
And I kind of want to take a little segue into AI. Obviously, I've been using AI now in all my podcast workflow. It's saved me a lot of time. But
Yep.
AI is here to stay. Obviously, it's escalated and accelerated in the last year and a bit incredibly fast. Everybody's kind of used to it now, and people are touching ChatGPT and they're using all these tools that have AI built into the back end. But do you think people are still using it properly, or is there a lot of work to do in that area?
Yeah, I think one thing is that there's still not as much adoption as you and I think. That when I talk to my clients, I'm still having a hard time getting them to use AI first and be committed to it in the way that you and I are. So there's still some progress to be made there. Of course, we're using it all when it's baked in to software products like Asana or some pieces of search or something. But it's there's the adoption is still slow because people don't know how to use it. And I think the challenge still for the foreseeable future, the next probably 12 to 18 months, is still going to be prompt writing, at least with the large language models, and working to get conversations going with ChatGPT or Claude so that those LLMs can get the information they need from me as the programmer to get the output that I need in order for it to be valuable to me.
Yeah.
So I'm just wrapping up a book on prompt writing that is
Cool.
a compilation of a number of interviews I did on my podcast. And so all the best practices, which it'll be out of date in 6 months, but you should still check it out. It's a free download on my website. So you can get that
That's
easily.
fantastic, because that's what it's become. It's the tools are available to everybody, but it's the application of the tools. It's how we use them. So it's how we instruct the prompt. It's how we let AI understand our style and start working with our own voice. So, I mean, I'd love to get a few tips. Maybe you can give some tips to the audience on how should they think about really prompting AI properly.
Yeah, I think the first thing is that it's really good to be able to direct the GPT towards some work that you've already completed. So a blog post or a podcast interview or a number of them, so that it has a reference for the tone of you as the writer, as the participant. So that's the first thing, is make sure that you're attaching content you've already created, and then use the GPT as a staff person who's there on day one and needs a lot of guidance in order to get tasks completed. And then the third thing is to ask it questions and to ask it what other information that you can provide in order to get this clear outcome that you're looking for.
That's a really good point. I keep forgetting to ask it questions. I keep saying, I keep iterating and saying, well, can you do this? Now do this, now change that, now add this, do it in this way. But I keep forgetting to say, what do you need to make it even better?
Yeah. And so that clear output is going to help you. We just say there's four things. You're AI first, you're human in a loop, you're going to test and iterate, and then you're going to compare your results against your key performance indicators. And if you can follow that simple 4-step process, you're going to be miles ahead of the marketplace and the other people that are not using the tools, and you're going to save yourself a lot of time and probably have better output than you would without it.
Oh yeah, like the stuff that it comes up with is really engaging and exciting and fun, and it's well written, so much better than when I write. Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely has its place in terms of I love to use it for content calendar ideas, and so that's one of the big ways that we'll use it. And then we'll reference it, like I was mentioning, on my podcast transcripts, and then also on the books that I've written. And so to be able to pull social media content from those things, it's amazingly quick. Also, just in terms of taking a massive amount of data and summarizing and pulling out key points is another amazing use for that kind of chat product.
Love it. And just a little tip for the people out there as well that might be starting with ChatGPT. A lot of people don't realize that you should use the same string the whole time. Don't keep opening up new strings or new threads, because then AI can start learning your style and your content. So now, after so many years or year and a half of using it, I can just write anything and it comes up really accurate because I've kind of trained it.
Yeah. That's nice.
And
to that point, there's however millions of users are using it. And so it's dynamic and it's learning from the prompting that's happening from all of us and getting smarter as it goes as well. So that's the interesting part about it.
And now I know that you've mentioned in some of your other material the phrase content seeding. So I'd love to kind of explain that. I've never heard that before. What does that mean?
Well, on this concept, we all familiar with search engine optimization or SEO. So now we're talking about GEO or generative engine optimization. And so we want to think about how we can put content onto our website that's easily crawled in list form, in it's and not just list form, but then also where it has references to it, so that when it gets crawled, it's easy to pull it in and answer somebody else's question about that sector or product or service. So that's the idea of the seeding.
So it's like, is it like feeding it stuff to learn? Is that what that phrase means in a way?
Yeah, exactly. It is making the content that you produce easy to be crawled and brought into an answer in one of the generative
Gotcha.
AI
Because
tools. Yeah.
I've never had that term before. Crawl. What does that actually mean?
Oh, yeah. So that's how, like, something like Perplexity, right? You ask it its question, your question, like, tell me about the Darren Saul podcast and how long's he been doing it? And so then that just releases the hounds, these spiders that go out and they start searching the internet for Darren Saul, and they'll go to LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram,
Yep.
and they're pulling all this information, they're compiling that answer and referencing where they've crawled and compiled that answer from.
Ah, so crawl means like how they go out to search to find the information.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of, if you picture the Matrix, where like
Yeah, I love it.
those little spiders are in the catacombs trying to find the
Gotcha.
Matrix, you know.
Gotcha. So seeding really, or could also mean like leaving your mark on multiple platforms and multiple places, so that when people try to find things, they take from wherever you are.
Yeah, exactly. It's called, and I came up with that term before I learned that there was a term for it
Wow,
called generative engine optimization.
interesting.
And so GEO is the concept. And I did finish a book, and it's on Amazon. That's about GEO and some of the specific tactics to put together in order to make your content a little more attractive for the LLMs.
Love it. And
Yeah.
so now ChatGPT, obviously, they keep releasing new versions. I hear that the version that's coming out next year is going to be 20, 30 times as more powerful than what we already have. Like it's going to be another leap, huge leap. Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't been able to get any news on that yet. I would be interested to know how it's going to be more powerful. Is it going to be quicker? Is it going to be able to digest more information? Um, Although I tend to use Perplexity because I like how Perplexity creates the citations.
Okay.
So it doesn't just answer for you, but then it also, give you the list of the index of where they got the information from.
Oh,
And so
wow.
you can dig in a little bit deeper and make sure that there aren't hallucinations from the LLM and it's not making things up, because they all are still making stuff up. And so that's why being the human in the loop is so important,
Yep.
that you have to double check the work. But so far, Perplexity has been the best for that for me.
Wow. I've never used that. Is that whose product is Perplexity?
I think it's a standalone. I don't know who owns it, but yeah, it's very simple to use. And of course, there's a free version, but I always recommend, once you put a couple of questions in, you probably should pay for it. So you're in a secure environment. You're not sharing everything with everybody else.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I heard that I think in the future, what some of the big changes will be around will be this term multimodal. So it'll have more options for styles or forms of content. It's going to be video, it's going to be audio, it's going to be this. It can do all of that at the same. Like it's not just at the moment. It's just text, and the free version is just text and documents. So it's
Yeah.
video and photo and graphic and audio and everything
And
else,
voice,
and
I
voice.
know I've heard some people say where they're doing coding while they're driving, talking to the to chat and asking it to do certain things, and then once they then get to wherever they're going, then they're finalizing the code, and he's saying 60-70% good by the time they've done a 2-hour road trip.
Amazing. And
Yeah.
have you found that? I mean, how have you found it efficient in the practices of your day to day? Like in terms of people would be normally doing tasks that would take so long, and you for clients, and you've been able to streamline it with AI.
Well, so much of the content development, as you know, Darren, is about summarizing or editing or coming with ideas and then creating a draft. So all these things, like I was mentioning with the content calendar and uh, building ideal client profiles, starting to understand through a research tool like Perplexity, like who are the perfect ideal clients for the Darren Saul podcast. And then we do that research. We come up with these six personas. Then we figure out, well, what kind of content would this number one persona want and number two persona, and then build out that content map that would be advertisements for social and run draft ads and then run draft email marketing campaigns and draft text messages. So you end up from ideal client to your content map to a complete draft campaign
Mhm.
that then we can go through and say, all right, well, I like this, let's research this other concept, and then this one's crazy, or it's out of here. But it takes a lot of that work that would be
Grunt
like
work.
with the blank piece of paper and the pencil, and you're like, okay, I'm starting at the beginning. Where do I go?
Oh no, exactly. And then
Yeah.
you have a creative block, and then you do nothing for 3 hours.
All
Like
right. Yeah.
totally
Go
takes
walk the
that
dog
away.
again.
Yeah.
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 Vacuum the office.
Yeah, I'm gonna go shopping. I need some
Yeah.
food. Yeah,
Right.
so
So
true.
so definitely that first part of the campaign has really sped up and I think gotten better because oftentimes what I'm seeing is that they're coming up with ideas that we just had lost. Maybe we did that 10 years ago, but we forgot about it, and
Yeah,
now it's part of the list of 10 things. I think that's the other thing is you can't exhaust these LLMs, right? Like I could ask for 25 content ideas, or I could ask for 250 content ideas, and it's like it's inexhaustible, and then we could pick
yeah,
from the
yeah,
list of 250, get the five best ones out of that.
yeah. And I've been doing that because I've been starting to play with some Facebook ads, and
Right.
my God, some of the hooks and the content that you can get out of AI
Yeah.
is so good compared to what I could ever think of, like as a catchphrase. It's
Yeah,
brilliant.
it is. And there's actually a really good tool. It's called Loop Genius, which is an AI social ad generator.
Cool.
And so they do a combination where they have they'll generate ads for you. They'll also have a group of user generated content people also. So it's a blend of humans and machine learning
Cool.
for your ads. So you just put in target market, general theme landing page, and then it produces drafts for you, and then it A/B tests everything for you too.
It does it all in the platform.
In the platform, yeah.
And then it says, all right, this is the best one for you. Use that.
That's right. Yep.
Uh,
And so, yeah, I just gave away one of my big secrets there, Darren.
so it's called Loop Genius. All right, I'm going to remember
Loop
that.
genius. Yeah.
Check that one out. But it just what I'm really hearing is that like everybody's on an even playing field now in terms of the tech. There's no secrets anymore. There's no magic. There's no creative genius. It's all there for us. But it's just about how we learn to use it.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important. And I keep going back to this idea that we have to tell our unique story,
Mhm.
and we have to be engaged with those tools to make sure that it remains personalized to the listener, and then it's honest and true coming from us as the influencer and the brand. Otherwise, we're going to just get lost in
Yeah,
the
it's
in
just
the in the
generic.
in the marketplace.
Yeah,
And
it just becomes
and
vanilla. Everything's the same.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So true.
absolutely.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Like this whole new world is fascinating to me. Yeah, incredible. And I'd love to get your take on where do you see the balance? Like where do you think you should be wary of using AI and maybe not go there with certain ideas if there are any?
Yeah, I don't know if it's, I would say it's just more that you want to continue to manage it, right? And then the way I look at it and what I coach people to do is I say, what are you not good at, or where do you have gaps in your marketing?
Mhm.
And whatever that is, if it's pay-per-click ads or it's email marketing or it's A/B split testing emails, there is a tool for that. And, in 2 hours, you'll be able to research the software. You'll be able to learn how to use it. You'll be able to deploy it. But you have to stay on top of test, 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 and make sure that it's doing what you need it to do. I think that's really the human in the loop part of it is the critical part, and imbuing it with your honest take of the world is really what's critical.
Yeah. So it's really using it and driving it as the human and keeping that authenticity, human authenticity and personal style in play so people know that it's not just generic vanilla content.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I love that. Very cool. Now, Emmanuel, tell us a bit more about your podcast. I'd like to hear more about that.
Well, it's been amazing. I think I'm on episode 71. So,
Nice.
I'm just a pup. But it's been the guests have been ranging from software as a service designers of people who are using AI to develop voice calling and things like Loop Genius and all these kinds of services that are recording sales reps' phone calls so they can help to train them better. And then people like yourself and agency owners and CEOs to say, well, here's how we're using it. This is why we're not using it here. And this is what we hope it does. And so for me, it's been amazing to be able to ask people about marketing in the age of AI and understand how all of us are sorting it out as it's going.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. We're all building the plane while it's flying.
Yeah,
In a way,
exactly.
which is kind
Yeah,
of good. That's what I like about it. It's a
yeah.
great book by Michael Masterson, and the title is Ready, Fire, Aim.
Yes.
And that's just, to me, that is just a perfect breakdown of how we should be working.
Yeah, I love it. That's one of my favorite books too.
Yeah,
I
great
quote
book.
that a lot.
Really
Yep.
good book. Because too many people overthink everything. We tend to over strategize, and we're planning and we're checking, and it's not perfect yet. And then we do nothing. We almost
Yeah.
talk ourselves out of doing anything.
No,
And
you're right.
it's
Yeah.
just, you got to just jump in these days, and it's not going to be great the first time, but you just get better as you go, and whatever it is that you're doing.
Love it.
Yeah, I think it's really, really important. And in terms of how you work, tell us a bit more about, if there's any niches you specialize in or any particular areas you work in.
Yeah, so my group, we primarily do B2B clients, and so manufacturing and finance and fintech and that sort of thing.
Yep.
And then on the B2C side, we do health and fitness, a lot of health club marketing.
Okay. Wow.
So and it's been fun to stay attached to both sides of business to see how they're the same and how they're different. And
Yeah.
my people are, about half domestic here in the States and about half all over the world. And I just keep finding the best, smartest, and most talented people I can to help me serve the clients. And I love being a part of a team like this because we get such better product from the team than I would just get by myself doing it myself.
So you use a lot of freelancers, or are they like as part of your core team?
Yeah, well, yeah, they're freelancers, but we keep them pretty busy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great. Awesome. I use a
yeah.
lot of them as well. I think they're like the talent at the moment that you can access because of the internet and because of all these new platforms around the world is phenomenal. Like I use a lot of them for my podcasting, for my photography, for other content stuff, and the quality is very high. The work is awesome. The people are great. It's unbelievable how you can scale
Yeah,
these days
yeah,
without
scaling,
have
absolutely.
a massive on-site team.
Yeah, and it allows everybody to work from wherever they are, and we can work from a coffee shop or we can work from the riverside, and as long as the work gets done, everybody's happy.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah,
Amazing. Awesome, Emmanuel. And now, if people want to find out more about you and how you work and your agency, what's the best way for them to do that?
yeah, they can dig us up at emmanuelrose.com or on LinkedIn or strategicemarketing.com.
Love it. Beautiful.
Yeah,
And I'll
thanks, Darren.
I'll make sure I put the links to all that plus your podcast in the show notes. And I definitely recommend everybody to check out Emmanuel's podcast. I've been on it, but there's some great guests and it's a great show and a lot of energy and a lot of great learning about AI and tech, because I think that's the other thing. If we really want to get good at this stuff, we have to continue to learn and listen and educate ourselves. It's not something that you can just learn once and forget about. This has got to
No.
change every day. So
Every day.
you gotta build a relationship with this stuff so that
Yeah,
you're always listening to a podcast or you're listening to an audiobook, you're reading or you're going to an event and whatever. You have to keep on top of it because otherwise, in AI, a week is like a year.
that's true. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, you gotta stay on top of it, but realize also that it's gonna grow faster than you can stay on top of it. So
It's true too.
be satisfied with learning what you can and then finding people who know more than you do, because
Yeah,
that's
that's
really the
actually a
secret.
really good point. Really good point. Yeah. Search out experts that are kind of doing that as their core function. And also the trap is to always look for the next and adopt the next shiny object. But that's probably also a trap because, it takes time to understand, research, implement, and then all of a sudden you've got a new product to work with. So a lot of the
Yeah.
time those products don't do any better than the ones you're already using. So it's really about being savvy about what you're using and not just jump on every new piece of tech because it's new. Try and really think about what the function of that is and do I need anything else? Is the stuff that I already have, can that do what I need it to do?
Yeah, and so it's a good point. Is it going to create some efficiency in my administration so I can save some money on the admin, or is it going to make it so that my clients are getting better results and I can spend more time doing the stuff that's important to them? And if there's not a 5 to 10 times ROI on your time and money, then it's probably not worth deploying it in that direction. And there's probably other places in your business that you would be able to find a solution that would create that kind of
Yeah,
ROI.
love it. Very interesting. Very interesting topic, really. I mean, you can have a whole episode just on how to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Emmanuel, I really appreciate coming on the show. It's been a fascinating conversation. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Check out all Emmanuel's stuff. I'm going to put it all in the show notes. And I always like to leave my guest with the last word. So anything you'd like to leave us with today?
I just like to say I'm grateful for the work that you're doing, Darren, and keeping people inspired and motivated to learn and change. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Emmanuel. Much appreciated, man. Really appreciate it. But really had a
You
great
betcha.
chat. And we
Thank you.
look forward to seeing you again.
I know. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Awesome. Everybody, enjoy the day. I hope you're having a great week, and we'll see you very, very soon for our next episode of Playing with Perspective, the Suspended Animation Podcast. Bye for now. Thanks again for joining me for another episode of Playing with Perspective, the Suspended Animation Podcast. If you would like to join me as a guest on the show, I would be delighted to collaborate. Just reach out via www.suspendedanimation.com.au. Also, remember to click on the link in the show notes for loads of great podcasting resources, webinars, courses, and opportunities to help you on your podcast journey. Many of them free. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.